gets like heavily injured in her stead.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, Skylar, you don't quite see it.
Oh.
We're not done yet. Quack.
Welcome to the Little Duck Book Club with duck number 1,
Ren, and duck number 2.
Ada. Yeah, welcome to our 3rd Keep, Burn, Rewrite episode.
If we keep going, now that we have 3 episodes, we can start doing keep, burn, rewrites of the episode.
Okay. Like in a year, it's like, which episode would you want to burn? I like all of our episodes.
I would not record a single one.
Not a single one. Okay.
Well, all the bad ones are already scrapped, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. They never saw the light of day anyway.
No, they weren't even synchronized ever. They're lonely orphans.
They were never edited. So if you don't know what the concept of a keep, burn, rewrite is, we each pick out 3 books for the other person, the other duck, and you have to pick 1 book to keep, 1 book to burn, and 1 book to rewrite.
Yeah.
And each time we have different strategies of books we give the other person.
Yeah.
And this time I went with only good and well-rated books for duck number 1.
Yeah, and I went for the low hanging fruit. I think last time we both did the middle.
Yeah, the 3 stars we did last time.
2 to 3 stars. Yeah.
Yeah. But no,
this time you went high, I went low. We'll see how this turns out.
I remember the first time we did this, you gave me only like ones that I rated well.
Yeah.
And I was in my own personal hell. So how are you faring?
I'm faring much better because for me, at least on Goodreads, my 5-star ratings don't mean that much because Goodreads is such an overly positive website, and like the 3 stars, like this is average, this is like fine, whatever. But then you can only go up like 2 places. Either it's like, oh yeah, it's pretty good, or like, yeah, it's really good, I really liked it. There isn't really a way to like, you know, differentiate between the ones that are like, yeah, this is a really good book, and then like this was incredible. I know other people are like more stingy and they put a lot more into like the 1 and 2 stars than I do. But in my brain, I'm like, no, it's not right. If you have a 5-star rating system, then only 1 can be the truly terrible ones. 2 need to be the one bad, but not, you know, that terrible. And 3 is just like, yeah, fine. You can't like. Yeah, I know everyone can do what they want, but in my brain, it's just you can't do it. It's not right. Yeah,
my rating is based on vibes, so.
Yeah, which is very well. Honestly, for one of these, I was even surprised. I gave it 5 stars, and I was like, wow, I don't even remember rating this.
Well, do you wanna start? Tell us about your keep.
No, first we're gonna introduce which books we have.
Oh yeah,
right?
That's right.
You're too impatient.
Yeah. Okay,
we gotta turn it down a little bit. We'll get to it. The foreplay is necessary. So yeah, the books you gave me were number 1, Scudagory Pleasant by Derek Landy, number 2, City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty, and number 3, The Invisible Library by Genevieve Cogman.
Oh.
And apparently I had all of these rated as 5 stars on Goodreads, which I was surprised by because I don't remember rating Scudagory Pleasant at like 5 stars, but I guess it's fine. But also I rated like most of my books like years ago when I first made the account.
When I saw that you rated 5 stars, I was mostly thinking about like emotional value to it because it was like the series you read when you were younger. Yeah,
I read the first book when I was pretty young, and like I have good memory. It's like a fun book.
Yeah.
And like Scudagory Pleasant is a little guy. I love him. I love my horrible man.
I was about to say.
Yeah, I was about to say. He's my little guy.
He's a horrible. Okay.
He's not that bad. I mean, he's funny, I guess is the important part.
He is. I have to admit, I read the first Scudagory Pleasant, and then I never read more than that.
I mean, that's also fair.
Yeah, I really wanted to like it, and it's not like that I didn't like it. I was just like, it's not catching me that much.
I also think, honestly, if I rated it again, I think I would probably give it like 4 stars. I think 5 stars was like...
You would deduct.
I think I was very like gracious when I like plopped like 100 books in one after the other. I was like, yeah, whatever, 5 stars.
Yeah, yeah.
You know how it goes.
Yeah, well, you gave me
yeah.
Bride by Ali Hazelwood. You gave me From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Jennifer! And you gave me The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle L. Jensen.
I only gave you the classics, man.
The classics. Yeah, that's what they all say. Yeah, those were my 3 books that I got to rate. So, now, who's your keep?
My keep is The Invisible Library by Genevieve Coughlin, which is not surprising to you, of course, because I have said before that it's like probably not the main, but probably one of my favorite book series.
Yeah.
And like the first one isn't my favorite in the series, but like obviously it's still a good book.
Yeah.
But also the thing is, I have said this to you before, but I will say here again, I did have a really, really banging idea for a rewrite.
I know.
However, I want you to read the book, and my rewrite was like so spoiler heavy that I was, I don't want to ruin the book for you. I want you to experience it organically. So I was like, I can't explain the whole plot to you.
Yeah, I need to read it first.
Read it.
So what's it about?
Yeah, I am taking it. Oh yeah. I was just checking between my screenshots of summaries, and I was like, which one is the right one? Don't read the wrong one. Yeah, I was about to say, no, this is not about Scott Gregory Pleasant. He's not in this. Yeah. Irene is a professional spy for the mysterious library, which harvests fiction from different realities. And along with her enigmatic assistant Kai, she's posted to an alternative London. Their mission to retrieve a dangerous book. But when they arrive, it's already been stolen. London's underground factions seem prepared to fight to the very death to find her book. Adding to the jeopardy, this world is chaos infested. The laws of nature bend to allow supernatural creatures and unpredictable magic, not logic. Irene's new assistant is also hiding secrets of his own. Soon she's up to her eyebrows in a heady mix of danger, clues, and secret societies. Yet failure is not an option. The nature of reality itself is at stake.
Ooh,
I mean, very dramatic.
It's dramatic, but also it's like it makes you really want to read it.
It's very fun. Like, she's an interdimensional like book thief. Well, thief. Sometimes she just buys them.
She's just a very creative librarian.
Yeah, I love her. She's my wife. No, she's so good. I also like, this is not in the summary, but almost every character in these books that's like even remotely relevant has like this impeccable bisexual energy that's just, I love that. So yeah, I love this book. It's just fun. It has all my favorite things. I love Irene. Yeah. She's such a practically inclined protagonist with such a dry sense of humor. She's very, very fun. She's always like, well, that went terribly. Let's put my emotions in a box and think about this very rationally and find a solution.
Reminds me of, I forgot her name. Memory Called Empire protagonist.
Yeah.
Oh, something terrible happened. Wow, we can't think about that right now.
Well, I'm on the clock, so we can't unpack this. Let's do that later.
Yeah, no, I like protagonists like that. It gives, it's a very similar thinking to how I think. Because I'm always like,
Yeah, there's a funny moment where, somebody she works with is like, hey, you're attractive, I'm attractive. I think it could be fun if we, had sex. And she's like, you know what? You're not wrong, but I literally have work to do that I can't put off. So, unfortunately, but no. And like, they're all very adult about it, and I'm just like, wow, I love when people are normal. I mean, everyone is unhinged, but like in some regards, I'm like, wow, I love when people are just like normal about some things. Yeah.
Oh, I know. I desperately have to read those books. It's just my physical TBR due to my lack of self-control and the fact that Christmas is approaching is not gonna get smaller.
Christmas and your birthday.
And Christmas and my birthday is approaching.
And I don't want to pressure you to feel like, oh, you have to like these books just because I like them.
I mean, like the setup sounds like something I would also really like. So I definitely want to read them at some point. It's just just sometimes books just come jumping in between.
Yeah, I know.
I'm very well. Regardless, I will read them. They are on my list. Yeah, I'll get to it. So my keep, for me this was very easy, because the books you gave me each had a different flavor of
terrible. Yeah.
No, I was about to say a different flavor of trash for me.
Yeah. And
the most enjoyable for me was the Bridge Kingdom. I am keeping the Bridge Kingdom. Oh my god.
Sorry, the timing of this was unfortunate.
No, it was impeccable.
No, I had to laugh, but then my condition.
Oh, the dreaded flu time during autumn. No, because the Bridge Kingdom to me was just, the style of writing wasn't too bad for me to not be able to enjoy it. For those of you who do not know, a warrior princess trained in isolation, Lara is driven by two certainties.
She's not even trained in isolation. There's a bunch of people around.
In isolation. The first is that King Aaron of the Bridge Kingdom is her enemy. And the second is that she'll be the one to bring him to his knees. The only route through a storm-ravaged world, the Bridge Kingdom enriches itself and deprives its rivals, including Lara's homeland. So when she's sent as a bride under the guise of peace, Lara is prepared to do whatever it takes to fracture its impenetrable defenses and the defenses of its king. Yet as she infiltrates her new home and gains a deeper understanding of the war that possesses the bridge, Lara begins to question whether she's the hero or the villain. And as her feelings for Aaron transform from frosty hostility to fierce passion, Lara must choose which kingdom she'll save and which kingdom she'll destroy. The best thing is that there's, like, perfect for fans from Blood and Ash.
When you read the summary, I was like, well, she's not the one who's gonna be doing the penetrating, is all I'm saying.
Well, he's not putting out that way, so... Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. It's no secret. I said that during the video we did on the book, and I said it to you in private. It was I was riding the right trash wave.
Yeah.
I was very aware of the faults and mistakes of the book, but I actually had a fun, not necessarily like a good, but like a fun time reading the book. The prose, while at some points hideous, wasn't always bad. There were parts that I genuinely enjoyed. There was banter that I actually was like, you know what, this is funny. I'm kind of enjoying myself. So yeah, this was very easy for me to say I'm keeping the Bridge Kingdom. Because I genuinely sometimes enjoyed it and I had a grand time. I wasn't as tortured as you were.
Fair enough.
When we read it. So yeah.
I mean, I think even over all of these, you always have a better time than me.
I do, because I'm so dumb. But
no, I just think you're like a more positive person. I just get cranky, and that's not helpful.
I'm a bit of a simpleton in that way. Like, I turn my brain off. I just enjoy the ride, and the plot holes aren't plot holes. They're features, you know? And
you're like, ooh, we're going down. Ooh, we're going back up.
Yeah. So no, I enjoyed it, and I think of the 3 books that you gave me, if you're interested in like a trashy kind of, plot holy book, then that would be the one I would recommend. I'd be like, of all 3, read that one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If if you have to marry one of 3 terrible women, Lara's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like even out of all 3, she still has the most brains as well.
Honestly, yeah, the competition's not stiff.
Yeah.
It's not...
And at least she can fight.
That's true, she can.
I can put her in a corner and she knows how to defend herself.
I mean, I guess Poppy can fight too.
She can shoot a mean arrow.
That's true.
But, what will she do once my wife is like in a 5-meter radius, like use the arrow as a stick.
Yeah, I
She's
mean,
gonna get annihilated by Lara.
that's true.
Yeah.
She's too stupid.
Continuing on.
Continuing on.
Who's your burn?
My burn is the City of Brass,
Oh.
which isn't because it's like worse than the other books. I think like content-wise, I would say it is better than Skadagrey Pleasant, but that's also because Skadagrey Pleasant is for like 12-year-olds, and City of Brass is like, I think, new adult. Because it's not quite in the young adult anymore. Like, it's about adults, and it's like it has a lot more heavy themes. But we can.
Could you just say it's fantasy, or is it not? Like...
I'm not sure, because it keeps being shelved under YA or New A and like NA, and I'm like, I don't know. I can't tell. I would have assumed it's just adult fantasy when I got it, and that's also the impression I had. Yeah. But it also has like some coming of age aspects, so maybe it wasn't. I don't know. It's not. It is not smutty though, which might explain why it has a much lower rating than some other. Which, you know, it happens. But yeah, summary. Nari has never believed in magic. Certainly, she has power. On the streets of 18th century Cairo, she's a con woman of unsurpassed talent. But she knows better than anyone that the trade she uses to get by, palm readings, czars, healings, are all tricks, sleights of hand, learned skills, a means to the delightful end of swindling Ottoman nobles. But when Nari accidentally summons an equally sly, darkly mysterious djinn warrior to her side during one of her cons, she's forced to accept that the magical world she thought only existed in childhood stories is real. For the warrior tells her a new tale, across hot, windswept sands teeming with creatures of fire and rivers where the mythical Marit sleep, past ruins of once magnificent human metropolises and mountains where the circling hawks are not what they seem, lies Davabad, the legendary City of Brass, a city to which Nari is irrevocably bound. In the city, behind gilded brass walls laced with enchantments, behind the 6 gates of the 6 djinn tribes, old resentments are simmering, and when Nari decides to enter this world, she learns that true power is fierce and brutal, that magic cannot shield her from the dangerous web of court politics, that even the cleverest of schemes can have deadly consequences. After all, there is a reason they say be careful what you wish for. So, yeah, it is... it was funny while I was, looking for the summary on Goodreads. I also read some reviews, and a good number of them that were like 2 stars or something were like, this was too complicated. I didn't like how confusing it was. And it's like, this was a fantasy book. That's why I thought it was adult, even when I read it, when I was like, I don't think this is way. This has a much more realistic and like nuanced take on politics and like discrimination, and like there's literally like djinn racism and stuff. Like and
between the djinns or towards the djinns?
Between different kinds of djinn, and between like half djinn and like full djinn. And there's like there isn't a good side. Like there's a side that has been like massacred in like a war, but those were also the hyper racist djinn who were like, oh no, like half human, half djinn, they're like beneath us, you should just kill them if they're born, they shouldn't get into the city, like humans are like nothing. And you're like, okay, I'm not like, I mean, you shouldn't like, kill all of them, but also they're not, and like you have a lot of factions vying for like power, and you have like different perspectives that give you insight into the different sides, and you're like, wow, none of these sides are like the good guy, because and it's so true, because like this is what real politics are like. And I love that there were people like, oh, this was too gray morality, there wasn't a real good side, and I was like, yeah, that's the point, that's the good part, that's the good thing here. But there's also Dara the djinn. He's fun, he's like ancient, and he's like kind of unhinged and a little bit insane, and I love him. I love terrible men, this. He's the djinn that fun. She finds. She accidentally it's fun. He's like, there's a scene right before they go into the throne room in Davabad. of like the Prince of Daybabet and one of his, I think, friends or his brother, and they're like in like a crypt underground, and they're like, and they talk about like, yeah, there's this ancient like super dangerous Jinn warrior, but luckily he's sealed away and he can never come back. And then they say, and you're like, oh no, he's walking right into your city right now.
Did you know?
But yeah, no, he's unhinged. He's so fun though. He has so many problems. He's like 99% problems. It's amazing. I love a terrible boy.
And she's not one, Like she's not the problem.
I mean, she's also part of what he has problems about. Again, he's not well, but that's what makes him fun to read about.
Is it like the ancient, like supernatural power meets like traumatized young character dynamic?
I mean, kind of, but also like, there is like a danger in Kara. That's why they like go to Daybabet. Like something is hunting her, and he's like, okay, we got to find out what that was and why you could summon me at all. So we'll go to the City of Brass, whatever. And like, they fight a lot, but they're also kind of into each other a little bit.
Oh.
But also like, he's like, well, he used to be like the, I don't know, like sworn protector, like bodyguard of like the previous Jinn like royal family, and those were the super racist ones. So he's like, when he's like looking at her, he's like, well, I mean, I like her, but also she's half human, which is like kind of like, which is really funny. I mean, eventually he finds out that, like stuff comes up, but it's really funny, and like looking at his hang-ups is also really funny because you're like, wow, you're a terrible person, but also like horrific shit has happened to you, so I'm not surprised that you're like unhinged
like this.
And he's just very I love me a terrible man. It's just very funny.
That's also on my list. I just like one time I saw them like the physical copies and they were so thick.
They are very thick, which like is also hefty. why it's on the burn, because I was like, I don't remember enough about this to like rewrite it. But I'm excited to like reread it and read the other ones, because kind of like much more picky than me book reviewer, I've like glanced over their reviews of the other books, and they were like, I think they liked them. Like, they were like, oh yeah, these were really good. They were like, oh, at the end, like, the resolution was a little bit, like, too easy. This wouldn't fly in real life or whatever. But I was like, you know what? I don't even mind. I like happy endings. And this does not put me off. And if they're also still solidly written, then I'm all
Then that's fine.
Then that's totally sufficient for me. Yeah, I'm excited to read these. Because, like, I read City of Brass in the year it came out, which I think is now like 7 years or more ago. Wow. Like these came out a while ago. The trilogy has been like finished and out for a while. I've just never gotten to like buying the other ones and rereading the first one.
You were like an infant when well, not.
Yeah, it was like, I think it was like 2017 or something. 2016, 17, something. Yeah. It's been a while.
That's crazy.
We were so young back then.
So young and so hopeful.
We used to have dreams.
Now it's just nightmares and lonely nights. Okay. So my burn. Yeah. My burn and my rewrite, like the decision, I had a gut feeling and I went with that gut feeling, but at the same time, they also had different vibes. And I think there's also an aspect of like motivation and energy that I have. And so the burn is From Blood and Ash.
Oh ho!
By Armin Trout.
Oh ho!
And I'm gonna read, the blurb is so fucking long. Okay.
My blurb was also very long.
Yeah, but yours was from a good book. A maiden, chosen from birth to usher in a new area, Poppy's life has never been her own. The life of the maiden is solitary, never to be touched, never to be looked upon, never to be spoken to, never to experience pleasure. Waiting for the day of her ascension, she would rather be with the guards fighting back the evil that took her family than preparing to be found worthy by the gods. But the choice has never been hers. A duty. The entire kingdom's future rests on Poppy's shoulders, something she's not even quite sure she wants for herself. Because a maiden has a heart and a soul and longing. And when Hawk, a golden-eyed god, honor bound to ensure her ascension, enters her life, destiny and duty become tangled with desire and need. He incites her anger, makes her question everything she believes in, and tempts her with the forbidden. A kingdom! Forsaken by the gods and feared by mortals, a fallen kingdom is rising once more, determined to take back what they believe is theirs through violence and vengeance. And as the shadow of those cursed draws closer, the line between what is forbidden and what is right becomes blurred. Poppy is not only on the verge of losing her heart and being found unworthy by the gods, but also her life when every blood-soaked thread that holds her world together begins to unravel. Why I'm not burning it? There's a variety of reasons why you should I'm not for burning books, but there's a variety of reasons why you should not read this book.
It's just the right thing to do, man.
I wrote down I was turned off by the whole premise when we read the book. I'm very picky and icky about vampire stories because I feel like there's a fine line for me.
The third vampire book instead of Witch Kingdom. I didn't even remember.
There's a fine line for me between I absolutely love this because I think it's well done, and all the icky parts about vampirism that kind of bother me are being addressed in a way that's like, oh, well, you know. And then there's like the not like there's the part where they don't do that, and they did the do not doing that in From Blood and Ash. I hate the virginal thing. I read this in German because I didn't buy it. I got it from the library. And for the Germans, the maiden is translated as die Jungfräuliche.
Oh my god!
It's not even die Jungfrau, which translates to the virgin. Die Jungfräuliche.
The virginal.
Is the virginal. So they translated the maiden to the virginal, which I the first time I saw it, I was like, I had to look up what it's, because I just could not. And there was so much wrong with this book and with the whole world around it, and I couldn't even start to, I was like, where am I even starting? That was right? And I really dislike Poppy as a character because she's like, I feel sorry for her in a way, for her as the literary character, because it feels like she's so nothing.
Yeah, for sure.
We've been thinking about, doing a more intensive view into why we don't like characters like Poppy, but there's just a certain
je ne sais quoi Poppy.
She's just so nothing, and then she's just constantly like a mirror for the people that need to be in the story at the moment, and that's not, you don't choose your main character to be that kind of person in a story. You shouldn't do that to any character, but most importantly, you don't do that to your main character. And the plot was just dumb. I'm sorry.
The plot was very dumb.
The plot was dumb, and again, all of the aspects about vampires that I think are...
You needed to be deliriously sick to be on the intellectual level of Poppy herself.
So when I read the book, the last fifth or something, last 100 pages, I was down with a really mean flu. I was reading the book, and I that way, I was like, oh, well, what? I didn't see the twist coming because my brain was so addled. Yeah. And when I had to go back, because I was so sick, I had to go back, reread the thing. And I was like, how could I ever?
Yeah, how did I not see this
coming?
How
did I not see this coming? I was so... I really tried to rush through that book, through my brain fog. And, it's just not a good book, man. And the fact that it's one of those series where they have a book from his perspective, which I also don't like. Yeah. Because if you rewrite a chapter or two, whatever, exclusive, which a lot of authors do, I'm like, okay, whatever. But a whole book?
Yeah, I think... It's like, we already know what happens, unless there's, like, crazy shit going on in the background that gives, like, incredible new insight. This is pointless.
Yeah.
This could have been, like, fan fiction.
Or if it's, like, an overlap, you know? You have, like, story that happens before the book from the different perspective, and then the end is, like, an overlap with something. Or other way around, you know?
Absolutely.
That...
Like, I totally would have been, like, fine. I think it's more acceptable if you have, like, a series and you're doing one book from this perspective, one book from the other, next book from because I think then you get, like, a lot of insight into a lot, but then also you need to adjust the plot in a way that, like, most of the interesting stuff happens from that character's perspective, and it's meaningful that they're the point of view character. Because
and I was when I read into what happens with the series, I was so turned off by the fact that, so since it's a vampire story, right, main guy is a vampire, and he has, like, each vampire has, like, a werewolf body. I think they had a different name. Was it just a were? No, I was right.
Was it Lycan?
No. Like, it's something like that.
I don't remember.
And it's like there was this weird, like, there was these racist, not even undertones,
overtones. It was
the racist red flags, and in the end there's, like, this weird threesome that they have, and it's like, oh, the werewolf friend gets, like, the sloppy seconds kind of style. It's just weird. It just gave me a bad vibe, and it's just
fair enough.
I didn't enjoy myself while reading it as well. I really tried. I tried so fucking hard to enjoy myself, but the wave was always crashing. I wasn't surfing it, like, with the Bridge Kingdom.
Yeah, it wasn't getting going. You had, like, short bursts.
It's like, it's like if you're watching someone trying to surf, and like the wave always just gives out, and they're like, fuck, I didn't catch it at the right time. You know, that's how it felt reading the Bridge. No, not the Bridge Kingdom, From Blood and Ash.
From Blood and Ash.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, so that's my burn, and I don't even feel bad about it.
Yeah,
honestly.
I mean, this is, like, the opposite of my burn. I was like, my burn is like the book's good, but also I don't care about it because I read it too long ago, and, like, in comparison to the others, I'm like, someone has to go. You know?
Yeah.
And you're like, no, this has to go for sure.
It's already out.
You're
the
like,
door.
I take pleasure in kicking this down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I'm not using a match. I'm using a rocket launcher. No, that sounds mean, but yeah, it's just, especially since I have such a dislike for vampire stories, or just such a difficult relationship with it.
Yeah.
And especially since, like, consuming some more good ones, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Okay, but enough of that.
Yeah.
Let's go to your rewrite.
My rewrite, The Good Skullduggery Pleasant.
Oh.
It's, I was just looking at my summary, and it's like, I don't think this is a good summary, but also it, like, has, like, a reading age recommendation, and it's 9 to 12, and I'm like, yeah, that checks out. Because that's when I started reading them, and they're like, they just get the same way. I'm like, yeah, if I read, like, Percy Jackson now as an adult for the first time, it's not compelling to me either. I assume this, like, doesn't hit the same if you're an adult, you know. But yeah, Skullduggery Pleasant is about Stephanie Edgley. Her uncle Gordon dies and leaves. He's an accomplished author. He has a lot of money. He leaves her everything. His estate, his books, the rights to books, everything. And it turns out what he's written about was not just horror, but it's also not as much fiction as she thought, because there is a magical world right behind the normal one. And when she's staying alone at her uncle's house, she gets attacked by a mage who's looking for something. And she's saved by Skullduggery Pleasant.
I remember that,
walking, talking skeleton who also can do magic, and who's a funny little guy.
A very stylish walking, talking.
He wears tailored suits, which is extremely funny because he's a skeleton. He drives like everything hangs off him like he's like, a skeleton. He's got no meat. What are the tailored clothes for? It's really funny. He drives like a really nice Bentley, which in the first book immediately gets like not totaled, but like heavily damaged, and then he gets like a loan car, and it's like an ugly like neon green monstrosity. It's really funny.
It's perfect.
He's not happy about it. But yeah, that's what it's about. And I was thinking really hard because it's the first book in a 9-book series. And I read all of them, so it's always like, it's the first book. If you change so much, everything else also changed. But that's not relevant today. I found an angle that I think is really fun for me that we're gonna talk about. So anyway, as I said near the beginning of the story, Stephanie inherits like everything from her uncle, and after they've been to the attorney that read them the will, they Stephanie and her mom go to the house and like look through it to see, okay, what is actually in here. And it's getting pretty late. They're about to leave. The car won't start. They call a mechanic. Mechanic comes, is like, no, this car is fucked. I can like take one of you back like to the city with me, because like I don't have that much space in the cabin. And Stephanie's like, you know what, I can just stay here alone. Like, it's Uncle Gordon's house. I've been here many times. Like, I've hung out with him a bunch. I like this house. You can just leave me here, get me in the morning, whatever. And her mom leaves. And then when she's alone, she gets attacked. And what I would change is that her mom stays. They're both staying there. They like call the dad. He works like in a construction company. He had like a meeting, so he couldn't come. And tell him like, just pick us up. But whatever. The attack still happens, and like a good parent, her mom protects Stephanie and gets like heavily injured in her stead.
I see.
Yeah, Skylar, you don't quite see it.
Oh,
we're not done yet.
I'm sorry. It's fine. I don't
Mom,
quite see.
Yeah, you don't see quite yet. You don't see the extent of my genius now. So, but before like Stephanie gets injured, like Skylar Pleasant still shows up, chases off the guy, and then is like, well, that's crazy, because like in the book, he at first he doesn't want to stay and help Stephanie. He was like, well, I'm gonna go and see what that guy was doing. Because he was Gordon's friend, so he is invested in somebody breaking into his house and wanting something. But he's also like, well,
that's more important right now.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not good at taking care of kids, and let's just be real, investigating dangerous people is also not safe for kids. Stephanie's like, no, I'm not staying here alone. We're calling like emergency services for my mom. They can come and take care of it, but I'm coming with you. I'm not staying here alone.
Aww.
So she still goes with him. They still first thing they do is go to somebody who has a lot of information, like kind of an information broker, China Soros, and all that happens as is in canon. They also visit Skaldagri's friend, Ghastly Bespoke, who is a tailor, and Ghastly is like one of the people who see Skaldagri with a child and is like, you should not be responsible for a child, you should stay out of this. This is you should not be here. This will fuck you up. Please do not engage in. And she's 13. She's like,
what do you mean?
You don't think I can handle it? I can do this. I want to do magic too. Fuck you. And I was like, okay, whatever. So they leave from there. They get attacked by the guy again. Who's like trying to get information from Stephanie. Information she doesn't have, but whatever. They as in canon, like, he dies. I'm not gonna go into all the mechanics. It's not important. He dies. Everything wraps up, and then like Sodagi is like, well, that's we gotta investigate later, on another day. I'm gonna, bring you home. They forgot that, like, her dad would probably worry if her mom got, into the hospital. So he brings her home. Her dad's like waiting. He's like, what the fuck? were you doing? He's like, as Kadari was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck did you do? And like they're like, I guess we gotta explain this now. I guess we're not pulling off the typical like teenage
secret,
like we're hiding this from our parents.
Yeah.
The funny part is also like Gordon was like aware of magic and like interacted with it, and Stephanie's family is like their ancestors are also like connected to that secret magic society, and her dad also knows a bit like about it. Not a lot, but like their great grandfather was like really into it and told the kids a bit, so he knows a little bit, and he's like, my daughter is not doing this, and she's like, no, I am doing this, and he's like, because he's like a very chill dude normally, and he's like, my daughter's not doing it alone, I guess.
Which makes sense.
So obviously in canon, like it's already like the case that over the different books, Stephanie keeps acquiring like father figures who are all way worse parents than her real parents who are still alive and around, which is very funny. And so instead of just being with Skaldari, who's like a father figure, now her real father is also there. And like commenting on stuff. Her real father is really funny. He's an architect, he's really good at engineering, but he's also forgetful. He'll be like standing at the car and being like, guys, I think I forgot something. They look at him, they're like, my man, you're not wearing shoes. And he's like, oh, you're right. I knew I forgot something.
Oh my god.
There's like the story her mom tells her. She's like, your dad once lost a whole shopping center. Like they built it and he was supposed to, show it to investors, but he couldn't find it. He drove around for like hours until he found like a landmark he recognized to show. So just having him around would be really, really funny. And like I don't think it changes that much, but it's just like it's such a funny addition. And like her mom would be in the hospital, she's like in a medical induced coma to like, so they can heal her all properly and she's not in pain and stuff. Yeah. So this means now the dad's around, which I think changes the genre to like, I don't know, family comedy. I mean, there's still like fucked up shit happening, obviously, because the funny thing is she ends up getting like Ghastly bespoke like the tailor, even though he was like, you shouldn't be here, girl. No, that's not a good idea. He ends up making her like clothing that's like magically protective, like it looks like a normal clothing, but like it's stab safe and all of that. And I think it would be cute for Dad also get like a cute magic proof outfit and they could like be matching, and it's like it's really cute and like and stuff. So where was I in my notes?
Short interlude.
So after those attacks happen, Skaldagri and Stephanie, because Ghastly is like, I don't want to help you, but he has I forgot.
I have one question. Is Ghastly a ghost?
No, he's like they're a chosen name, so Skaldagri isn't like a real name somebody gave him. He like picked it for himself. I see. Because like your given name has some degree of power over you, so if people know it, they can use it to control you. But if you have a chosen name, then that like protects your other name.
I feel like Ghastly is such a good ghost name.
That's fine. I mean, it is because there's a Pokemon named Ghastly, but whatever.
Is there?
Yeah. But no, Ghastly is named that because he's like incredibly ugly, because his mother was afflicted with a hex before he was born, so he's like legitimately, he's like scarred, and like his face is like awful, and it's like, it's just like he's such a solid guy, and he's not really, like, he doesn't really care that much about magic and shit anymore. He likes, like, normal stuff. He likes watching normal television. So I think he could also bond with, like, Desmond, with, like, Stephanie's dad about, like, normal stuff and be like, you're an engineer, that's really cool. No, that's interesting. So I think they could have, like, a really fun dynamic going on. But since he doesn't want to help, and they're breaking into his family's vault, which is protected, but, it's a fun little, breaking and entering sequence. And obviously at some point, like, they get in there and, like, find what they're looking for, but, like, there's they're noticed and they have to escape. They've got to jump out through a window, and like it's about Stephanie gets kind of hurt because like she jumps out, like it's at like a high altitude, and like a tree catches her with every single branch. It's not pleasant.
I see.
But like I think if Desmond were there, he would also just like fall out, and they could like both just be kind of banged up.
Yeah, it would be a bit funnier.
They're like, well, this was kind of exciting, but also maybe not. Let's not do that again. Maybe. So what I haven't mentioned so far, like the whole book, it's kind of about like a MacGuffin. Like there's the scepter, which is like an ancient, super powerful weapon that can disintegrate anything, really, that you pointed at. And they think Gordon was killed because he was in possession of the scepter, and they could only take it after he was dead, because it's like bound to
the person,
a person who's alive. So like no one can use it except like the person it's bound to. So you gotta kill them. So they think that's what happened to Gordon. So they're looking for information on the scepter and how to find it. And then it turns out they're pretty sure, like they return to Gordon's house, and there's an evil magic guy there. He's an old enemy.
Again?
Yeah. This time it's the boss.
Oh.
This time it's a guy called, the names are amazing, Nefarian Serpine. He's like an evil snake. I'm an evil snake. Fuck yeah. He and Skullduggery have history. And he ends up kidnapping Skullduggery, and Stephanie gets away and can't, because he, like, Skullduggery tells, like, Stephanie to run so she can be safe, and, because he's a skeleton and he can't die, so. Or like, at least Serpine doesn't know how to kill him yet, so that's, So he gets abducted, unfortunate. But now at least they have, like, they have some proof who's behind this. So there is also a shadow magic government. So they're going there. Earlier in the book, Skullduggery has shown it to Stephanie before, but they just like, kind of looked around and all that. So they're going there to kick the asses of the people in charge so they can get like help rescuing Skullduggery. And I think this scene would be like in canon is Stephanie who goes there with Ghastly, but I think it would be amazing if her dad was also there, because seeing her dad fight with like an administrator and like people, like I think that would be amazing, because she mentions that she's not really good with authority. She's like, yeah, you can tell me what to do, but you have to explain why. Yeah. And I think it would be amazing if she got that from her dad, and he was also just like, what the fuck? Why are you doing? Why are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? What the fuck? And I think it would be amazing. I think that would be so fucking funny to have him there, because like otherwise he's such a dreamy, confused little guy, but like But he's gonna have an action moment. He's gonna have a great moment and like talk them into helping them, and they get help. They rescue Skullduggery. So they definitely know Serpine's behind this. He definitely is looking for the scepter, and then they figure out a clue that Gordon left behind on how to get the scepter. There's a lot of action stuff that goes down. There's like a secret hidden cave full of fucked up shit under Gordon's house. In like the bedrock, there's like evil meat-eating giant plants with like long tentacle. There's everything. It's like super dangerous down there, especially for people who can do magic, because all that stuff loves eating like
magic.
Did
they check whether he was eaten by one of the plants?
I mean, he was found dead in his office over his old manuscript and stuff.
That's what the plants want you to think.
That's what they Yeah, but so a lot of stuff happens. Serpent ends up getting the scepter, whatever. In my rewrite, this is like a point where after they rescued Skullduggery, like Desmond gets a call, like the mother woke up. He's going to to check on her, and then Skullduggery comes in and is like, we figured out the clue, and Stephanie was like, you know what, I'm just gonna leave him a voice message and tell him we're like sorting it out. It's fine. Someone needs to take care of Mom right now. And like I can just imagine he's like hearing that voice message. He's just like, this fucking skeleton.
Fucking damn it.
I told him not to, let my daughter tag along to super dangerous shit alone. What the fuck? I hate this man. But like, yeah, all that happens, and then at the end there's like a confrontation inside the sanctuary in the like government facility. Because I haven't mentioned it before, but there's like the book of names. So in the same way that like Fey rules are like don't tell people your name because your real name can be used to compel you. This is the same idea. You have like the name your parents give you. You can have a name you choose, and you also have a real name. Oh. You don't know it, but like the universe knows it. And the book of names is like a super ancient artifact which records all of them. Yeah. Like it's nobody knows how it works, but it's like magic. So it works, but nobody knows how it works.
How do you know whom the name belongs to in the book?
Because it has all three names. So I assume like at like the moment you become a person, I don't know if that's before birth or after, your real name is in there. Yeah. And then when you are given a name, that name is added, and when you choose one, then that starts appearing in there too. Ah, okay. So you can
look for that.
Yeah, you could find anyone. But the thing is, if you have it, you can also control anyone because you just have to know the real name of anyone, and so you can compel them. And it is, at the time, protected by the three elders. It's like a magic spell that basically is like a mental block. The closer you are to getting it, the less interested you are. So
that's cool.
You can so you start like at the edge of the room, you go to it, and you're like, I'm gonna get that book. And the closer you get, you're like, you know what? I don't actually want that book. You're like a meter away. You're like turning around. And you're like, nah, I don't care anymore. Oh. and you leave it. And so there was a traitor among the elders who helped Serpine kill the other two and was like, maybe the spell's getting weak enough if there's just one of us around. Yeah. So then you can get the book and like summon your evil gods back to the whatever. Like Serpine's like, he's a weirdo. It's not important. So. It's still to effective, so Serpent's like, okay, I'm killing you, but like they've muddled a lot there around like long enough for Valkyrie, for Stephanie and Skaldagri to show up there and like with their friends to get in there. Yeah, and there's like a whole battle sequence and all that, and because Stephanie and Desmond are like from this like ancient magic family. Like the scepter is like a family heirloom, and it notifies people, like it notifies anyone if there's like enemies near. But because it's a family heirloom, it doesn't see that family as enemies, so Stephanie can like sneak up on Serpine while Skaldagri could. Yeah. So there's this fight scene, and a lot happens. The scepter is like swung back and forth and stuff. A lot happens.
It's being sceptered with.
Yeah, no, like because everyone there can do magic. Yeah. So Skaldagri has taught Stephanie a bit of like elemental magic, and if you can just push at the air, you can like fling it around, and and Serpine's just watching this like keep being chucked away, and he's like, my fucking scepter. And like a lot is happening. And in the end, in canon, it's Skaldagri who finally like picks up the scepter and like blasts him. But in this one, I think it would be fun. He does this while Serpine is almost killing Stephanie, but I think it would be fun if her dad could do that. If her dad has heard the voice and is like, I can't.
Desmond coming
I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna help, and like he comes in, no one expected. He's the dark horse, no one saw it coming, and then he picks up the thing and like blasts Serpine, and it's like
That would be such a good like comedic timing.
Yeah, it's amazing timing because like Serpine's not even really aware of him. He's just like, who the fuck are you? But like he doesn't really get him. And then like everyone's just sitting around like, oh well, I guess it's over now.
A new bombshell entered the villa.
And like during the fight, the like Book of Names got disintegrated, which is also very funny because Serpine was there to get it, but now he can't anymore because like. He's really mad about that. But yeah, I think it would be amazing if Desmond got to I think it's very cute. And then they can go home, and then you can have like as the epilogue, you can have them like invite Skullduggery and like Ghastly and like Tanith,
some
like
other people
for tea and you know, have like awkward family bonding time.
Can Skullduggery drink?
I don't remember. I don't remember if he ever like drinks anything or eats anything.
Yeah.
Because like he's not just a skeleton, because he's he has like, because he can feel pain, he can talk, he can do a lot of things. So it's I don't remember.
It's unclear.
It could totally be possible, but it could also just flop down through him and like, you know, end up on the ground.
This is tasty, plop.
because the funny thing is, because like it's not even his skull. His skull got stolen sometime. He's using somebody else's skull like all the time.
That way it's called Skullduggery because he dug out a different skull.
No. I mean, he's got skull. Of course, the author chose the name because it also relates to, you know, skull, skeleton, whatever.
Yeah.
But the meaning of Skullduggery, the word is like, I think like something relating to like funny business, doing like suspicious. Yeah, you know that.
I see. Yeah.
Because he is like a strange little fellow who does like little weird shit. Like
it's like a Shabanak.
Yeah. It's like, and so it's like it does also like relate to his personality.
Yeah.
So.
I just realized people are learning the most useful German words today. Ein jungfräuliche Schabernack.
Yeah. No, so that I think if her dad was in it more, I think that that's my rewrite. I think I want Desmond to save the day.
I think that's such
very
like
cute.
If you have a character that's fun, it's like, I know kids are like, ooh, my parents, right? But
yeah, no, this is like for a different audience than the original. I mean, I guess not necessarily, but it's just a different kind of like take on the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, I like it.
I think it was like, at first I was really struggling. I was, dude, at what point could the story like change fundamentally? And then I was like, wait a second. I have an idea. At first I was like, okay, what if like Serpent just kills her parents and then I'm like, oh, she's just sad the entire time. And she's angry, but she's 13, so she's not even doing that much. Like she's already totally on board on fighting him because she's like, yeah, I want to fight evil crime. I want to fight like a magic evil guy. Yeah. So like it doesn't really change anything. And I was like, okay, but what if her parents are around? So yeah, this is my Desmond, the real MVP.
Desmond, the real MVP.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, one book left.
I actually thought you would burn this one because we both disliked it so much.
No, because a couple of the ideas we had while
we workshopped it a little bit before.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? I kind of want to make this into like a genuine thing. So my rewrite is of the book Bride. What is Bride about? There's by chance there's like a good video on this channel.
There's a 3-hour video which explains very succinctly what Bride is about.
A dangerous alliance between a vampire bride and the alpha werewolf becomes a love deep enough to sink your teeth into in this new paranormal romance. Misery Lark, the only daughter of the most powerful vampire councilman of the Southwest, is an outcast. Again. Her days of living in anonymity among the humans are over. She has been called upon to uphold a historic peacekeeping alliance between the vampires and their mortal enemies, the Wares, and she sees little choice but to surrender herself in the exchange. Again. Wares are ruthless and unpredictable, and their alpha, Lo Morland, is no exception. He rules his pack with absolute authority, but not without justice. And, unlike the Vampire Council, not without feeling. It's clear from the way he tracks Misery's every movement that he doesn't trust her. If only he knew how right he was. Because Misery has her own reasons to agree to this marriage of convenience, reasons that have nothing to do with politics or alliances, and everything to do with the only thing she's ever cared about. And she is willing to do whatever it takes to get back to what's hers, even if it means a life alone in Were territory. Alone with the wolf.
Oh my god.
So, like,
the names will never not be funny. Misery Lark and Lo Morland.
Lo Morland.
It's so funny.
So there's a couple of things I would of course change. And one thing that I don't think we mentioned, or I don't think I mentioned in the video, but I was like, when I said, this feels like a mafia story, it would make also a lot more sense if it was in like a 40s, 50s setting.
Ooh.
In like a noir setting. Because a lot of the plot holes or things where you're like, why are they so dumb? Makes perfect sense if you don't have the technology for it. First of all, we get rid of all the weird genetics.
But then she can't be a hacker.
She can be, I don't know, something else. She can get a different hobby. Because in itself, she does no useful hacking in the whole book.
No.
She does one single thing of hacking, but we later find out that Lo is really stupid with computers, so it would have been enough to probably open a Word document and see like a list of Lo's stupid secrets. So make it like in the 40s, in the 50s, all the technology that would make this book so much easier is not there. There's an actual like the investigations going on in the background would be much more interesting because there's actual investigating going on.
And like the enhanced senses are also more
relevant. The research is much more high stakes because you can't just like get something from online. In the overall like archaic way of, you know, romancing somebody off, marrying them off would also make more sense.
Yeah, no, I like this.
The most obvious one I think that we also discussed in the book is in the video to the book. I was about to say we discussed in the movie.
Well,
it's movie length.
There are changing visuals. You can call it a movie if you want to.
Is that we change main character.
Ooh,
and we make
Owen
the main character. Because I feel like if we already go with the noir kind of setting, it would be very interesting to have like sort of a spy kind of character. And Owen strikes me as the perfect guy to, I mean, he's not like a double spy in that sense.
No.
Because he's not, the other party is himself, right?
Yeah.
But he's in this not enemy kind of enemy territory. He's building up his own alliances, you know, because he can't just go to one of the councilmen and be like, fuck you, I'm gonna murder you and become the new council person. Right? There needs some legwork needs to be done. Some alliances need to be built. And he will have like a sort of complicated relationship with the whole marrying her off thing because he loves his sister. He's
like, the only one who does.
It's apparent in the book that he's like, he has love for her.
He cares about her so much, and she's always like, he doesn't care about me. And that's like, misery, he obviously does. What is your problem?
And he's like, okay, she's being married off to this other guy, and I get also somebody from them. Yeah. And that I remember that we said, Owen and I forgot her name, the werewolf collateral kind of, they have more chemistry in the couple of scenes we see them than Misery has with Lo. Yeah. So I would also look at a different, you know, maybe tensiony romantic couple where she's not really sure whether I like the I'm not sure if I can trust you, but this is there's no romantic or like sexual kind of connection they have to have because they're not married, right? So it's more like I don't know if I can trust you and your vision that he has, and he kind of tries to get the alliance, not just through his sister but through this other person, kind of, you know, working it from different angles. So that's kind of the thing he does, and I like a character who's driven out of spite. And I want him to be driven out of spite for his father. I feel like that's a fun emotion because it's just very emotion-y. And since we're being told, the vampires are always like so stoic and they don't emote, it would be nice to have an emotive character on the inside who has to be like, I'm so cool, I'm Owen Lark, you know, on the outside. To his father, and you know, have them like have these standoffs. And what else did I write down? And what I loved about the idea of it is that his sister is sort of like kind of a wrench in his plan as well. Because he like, okay, I love my sister. I know she's been able to like keep her underground, not like put any like much attention to her in the human world. There's been this thing that she was this collateral, but like whatever, and she gets married off and he has to kind of deal with her consequences, right?
Yeah.
She's not cooperating in a way, and that creates problems for him as well. She's basically doing everything she can do to make it worse, kind of, if you look at it. And he has to get to his sister because he also wants to get to the missing friend. Right? He's like, there's like an investigative detective thing going on at the same time, because like he needs to find the friend, because the other werewolf person is like, yeah, sure, let's look into that. It was a very close person to Lo, so let's make her like know of the hybrid.
Yeah.
Because then there's also this thing of Owen having to navigate getting the information out of her, and it's just I want some swooshing around. I want a bit of more of a dynamic. I want a character who's a bit more competent.
Yeah.
And I just think the aesthetic would just fit well.
The aesthetic would be really good
with the whole thing.
The computer and hacking bits are so dumb.
Yeah, and then the ending of the book is obviously bad. Because out of Misery's perspective, she does this wiggle waggle with her eyebrows, and then the werewolves are werewolfing out, right? And it's like this weird reunion she has. Owen comes in and you're like, is Owen evil? No, he's not. Okay, nothing exciting happens in this book.
Really happens.
So obviously we don't have like a futuristic high rise, right? Because we're not there yet.
No, the 50s.
Yeah, but not the like
skyscrapers.
They do have skyscrapers, but not the. I imagined it like the everything is glass, like the weird UV glass where they don't die.
You imagine it like the Gherkin in London or whatever.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
That's what I imagine it. But they have like this. I was feeling like, oh, maybe they're just building up their empire, right? So they have like this big brick building, like big brick skyscraper kind of situation that they're still working on.
Oh, it's in the construction.
It's a contraction. So they're kind of, they're meeting up. Owen knows that they're having like an exchange going on, right? Lo is going to meet with the father to like do some hostage exchange kind of situation. And Owen is like, I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna step in on that situation, because a high rise in construction is not closed off. And I like a dramatic defenestration.
Ooh, those are good.
Since Owen is a much better kind of vampire guy, I want to see the vampire powers. I imagine it to be, this is very self-indulgent, I imagine it to be very cool if he kind of uses those powers on the other people around, and it's like a situation where everybody kind of goes in on the father. We don't need any out werewolfing. This is not the werewolf story. It's a vampire story. The werewolves are also there, but the vampires, I kind of want. I want that.
I like that.
And then Misery and Lo, they marry again. I don't know, and become happy somewhere else. And maybe the other werewolf collaterals like gives him a kiss on the cheek or something. It's like the hint of a continuation. But I would like that a lot more than the other one. Mainly because I think taking the technology out of the whole thing makes it more plausible, and also is just more vibey.
Also because Misery sucks and Owen is fun. It's true.
I'd rather, in this kind of situation, if you give me the vibes, if you give me the energy, if you give me forced marriage, that kind of stuff, I'd rather have a little bit more competency surrounding the story.
Yeah,
and you don't need to, there's no need to change all the screws on Misery, because you have a character right there whom you know on the sidelines in the back,
Yeah.
is doing everything, right? And she's like, oh wait, oh, and what have you been doing? Well, this whole time while you've been fucking around, literally,
Yeah.
I have been disassembling the whole vampire like structure.
Yeah, well, you've been sucking peanut butter off a spoon. I've been doing work.
Yeah.
Thank me later.
And I'd rather see that work and make all of the dumb investigation stuff that Misery does be executed nicely and well by Owen.
Yeah.
And strike out all of the weird back and forth with Lo and Misery and like the sniffing of pillowcases. You know, it's not needed.
Yeah, I'm very supportive of this.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you know how to improve Bride? No Misery.
That's why I was like, when we talked about it, I was like, I'm gonna create a different book. Like, it's not even just a little.
Yeah, but honestly, I think any good version of Bride is like unrecognizable.
Yeah, probably.
I think like the bones are bad. Like, yeah.
But yeah, that's
Oh,
it.
I like that. That's cool.
As always, it's a vibey decision that was impacting it. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And the worst offender, the genetics, it gets it out of the way.
Oh, the genetics part was so dumb.
Yeah, I don't need it. I don't want it.
I'm still like, God, one of the dumbest things I've ever read.
So it's like, that's the first thing that has to leave.
I was just like, Ellie Hazel, don't you work? Don't you have like
she's a neuropsychologist. No, neurophysicist. She does stuff with neurons.
Okay.
Yeah. You do actually have to do like genetics 101 in any biological like life science study course.
I'm just like, just don't try to explain it. It
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, the thing is, yeah, vampires and werewolves are magic. It wouldn't make sense in real life. You don't even try to explain it. This reminds me of when like Stephanie Meyer was like, yeah, did you know werewolves have like more chromosomes than normal humans? And like,
so dumb.
And I was like, who cares?
Yeah, it's not adding anything to the story. It's not a question I'm asking myself.
Also, what are we supposed to assume the wolf lives in the extra chromosome? What's the deal here? I don't know. I didn't like.
Yeah,
that was dumb too. I'm just like, don't try to science it. It's
yeah.
Unless you are really good at science and have like a really solid idea for it, just don't do it. It adds nothing if you do it, and it detracts for everyone who knows enough to be like, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it adds nothing for the people who don't care about these things, and it detracts for everyone else. So.
Yeah, so not interested.
No.
But yeah.
That's crazy.
That's it.
I do like your version.
I kind of do want somebody to write it. I was like, I'd read that. I'd have fun reading it. But I can't write. So, gotta find something else for free on the internet.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure if I type in the right things, I'm gonna find a story that's something close to
Not to be that guy, but I think you can find like any version of any, like, if you go into a big enough fandom, like, I bet you there is like MCU versions of your idea that exist that are fairly similar.
Yeah.
Maybe they're lacking like one or two parts of it, but like I promise you there's
the stories are out
like,
there.
There's no way there isn't, because it's not like this is not
it's
full
a
of typical
revolutionary
romance elements that you know are popular for a reason, because people just they resonate, right?
Yeah.
So like
and detective stories always exist. So.
Yeah, people love a mystery. Like, mysteries are fun, even if they're just in something for flavor. They're good.
They're good.
Yeah.
Well, we were actually very concise this time.
I was about to say we were so quick. That's crazy. After our last session, that was like.
That's a little short nugget for you guys.
3 hours. I don't even remember.
No, it wasn't that long.
No, but it was. We did talk a long time.
Yeah, but we got sidetracked.
Yeah.
Well,
anyway,
thank you so much for listening. If you have any, if you want to maybe at some point give us, like the two of us together, a KBR, in the comments. If you want to do
fun.
that, feel free to do that. I think that would be insanely fun as well.
Yeah, it would be really fun. Also, it would be fun to collaborate on one, I think.
Yeah,
that could be really
yeah.
fun.
So if you have someone whom you think we are not too shy to ask,
That
then-
would be really fun. But no pressure.
No pressure. But yeah, thank you so much for listening, guys, and
We'll see you in the next one.
yeah, bye bye.
Goodbye.